Hi, I'm Terry Slott, and this is On With the Show. We are here with Tim Ryan at a fundraiser for heroin awareness. Tim is the author of a book, From Dope to Hope, and is also the founder and
executive director of a Man in Recovery Foundation.
A Man in Recovery, which is what this event tonight here is for. We have 3 bands playing here at the Cairo House, and we're going to basically try to start stomping out some of the heroin epidemic in the United States. It is a bigger problem than most people want to believe or actually do believe. As I was telling Tim earlier, when I was growing up and I was hanging out in the city and partying myself or whatever, to me, that was, you know, I wasn't like, I don't know, I wasn't an addict, but when I was in the city, I should say, just drinking or whatever. But to me, living in the city, somebody who was a heroin addict was somebody that you'd find in an alley or something like that, a bum or per se, somebody not close to home. But today's average addict is anywhere from 12 years old to, he said, 78 years old, all that range.
Yeah, I mean, the big misconception about heroin addicts, in a lot of heroin addicts, 75% start from prescription pain pills. That's where it's starting, you know, and the parents having unused meds in the cabinet, and kids are experimenting and trying it. It's easier for a kid today to get a bag of heroin or a prescription pain pill, an opiate pain pill, than it is a pack of cigarettes or a 6-pack of beer. Times have changed drastically, but the average heroin addict is a 22 to 23-year-old white middle class male or female. The misconception is everyone's perception was it's a homeless person on the corner. And yeah, after Vietnam, that's what it was. And the reason they had to shoot heroin was it was 14% pure. Today, the heroin I could buy right in this parking lot, if someone was selling it, is going to be 75% pure. They're cutting it with fentanyl, which is 1,000 times stronger than pure heroin. Carfentanil, 10,000 times stronger than morphine. And it's killing people. When people get into messing around with opiates, you have 2 choices. You're either going to get sober or you're going to die. I struggled with addiction most of my life, heroin the last 12 years. I've overdosed 8 times, been clinically dead 3. I had 2 heart attacks. I've been to prison twice. When I got out of prison, I had overdosed while driving and hit 2 cars and almost killed 4 people. I lost everything, but that's when I plugged into recovery. And upon my release, on my 21-month sobriety date, my 20-year-old son died from a heroin overdose. So in Nick's passing, this is where I carry Nick today. I carry Nick's ashes in here. It really instilled a fire in me. In 3 years, just locally, I've attended 114 funerals. But I've probably assisted over 3,000 people into treatment. And that's what we do at the Man in Recovery Foundation. And I thank you and I commend you for coming out and partnering with us to carry the message. Everybody today knows someone that's struggling with opiate addiction, but people don't talk about it. The stigma, the shame, I don't want the neighbors to know. This is a progressive and chronic disease that will kill you. You need to talk about it. But what we do is we guide and direct people into treatment, whether they have no insurance, state insurance, good insurance. We'll get them, I can get anybody in within 12 to 24 hours. We'll pay for them to get in sober homes. All the funds we raise, everything's given away. We have no employees. I do all this out of the kindness of my heart. I have a full-time job. I work for a treatment center, but 98% of the calls I get, people have no resources. And I had a TV pilot run on A&E a couple weeks ago called The Dope Man, and it's basically a day in the life of what I do. I received over 2,000 phone calls in 10 days. 99% of those people, everywhere in the country, every state, Puerto Rico, Canada, begging for resources. They want to get help, but there's no help available.
The show was very touching for me. That's when I watched that, Gail, who brought us into the bands and everything, when I watched that, it really brought me, you know, into your predicament. I mean, you guys were out on the street, the girl that you saved from the pimp.
Rebecca, yeah.
I mean, that was very intense. I mean, your driver, who was also at the moment was recovering.
Yeah.
And is he still good?
Yeah, Derek's almost 2 years sober.
Excellent. But he was
scared.
He was tripping. He was backing up.
Yeah, I said no. This girl I'd got out of a hotel in Rockford, and she had been prostituting herself for 15 years, supporting her heroin habit. So I got her into a local hospital for detox, and she walked out. 2 weeks later, her mom called and said, Tim, I think she's at this hotel in Naperville. I went there, and I saw her driving away with her pimp. So I chased him, and I'm yelling at her. Long story short, we came in. The guy threatened to come up and shoot me. And I said, look, I don't care what you're doing. I want her. She's now 9 months sober. But this is happening in DuPage County, Will County, McHenry County, every county throughout Illinois in the country. It's everywhere.
And Naperville is the hoity-toity area. And that's, unfortunately, when you think about it, that, you know, it doesn't affect one grade of money, rich, poor, or anybody. It affects everybody.
I did an intervention a month ago with the family up on the North Shore, $15 million estate on Lake Michigan, and I've done interventions in apartments where 8 people live in a 2-bedroom apartment. This affects everyone, doesn't matter your job, your race, your creed, but predominantly most of the people that get started are through prescription pain pills. But even when I'll speak in high schools, I'll have the kids say, well, Mr. Ryan, I just smoked some weed. The weed that I grew up smoking and the weed today, this isn't weed. It's much more powerful. So say me and you are in high school, we're smoking a little weed, have a couple drinks, your inhibitions are dropped, here, try this, snort. That's when the kids are trying things. And what I ask them is, you know, why do you got to alter your mind in the first place? To have a good time, you know. There's so many variables, but it destroys families. Absolutely destroys families. Yes. So even once I'm getting the person struggling with addiction help, we got to get the family help too. Right. And that's what we're trying to do. You know, our motto is taking people from dope to hope, helping one addict at a time.
Excellent.
I
commend you, man.
Brother.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm glad to be a part of it, and my camera crew is very you know, this is a very awesome thing you're doing. I wish it didn't have to be this, but unfortunately it is. But it's awesome that there's people that actually care, and that's huge.
You know, it was really interesting. The day our son died, my former wife Shannon and I are dear friends. I can remember we're in Hinsdale Hospital, and she said, I hate God, I'm mad at God, F God. And I said, why? She said, God didn't answer my prayers. And I said, Shannon, what I'm going to say is going to sting, but listen to me. I said, maybe God did answer our prayers. It's just not the answer we're looking for. So 2 weeks later, we had lunch, and when I had met Shannon, Nick was 3, I adopted him, and we had 3 other kids. And she looked me dead in the eyes, and she said, Tim, for once in my life, I'm behind you 1,000%. She said, I truly believe God put Nick and I in your life for a reason. Had you go through your struggles, had Nick go through his, for him to pass on to set the stage for what you're going to do next. And I'm just getting started. The past 30 years of my addiction were my training grounds. And I had to walk through utter hell and destruction to have the tools, the knowledge, the wisdom to be able to do what I do today. This isn't for everyone. I deal with death almost daily, but I deal with hope. And it's that hope that keeps me alive. It's
the upswing. There's always you look at the positive, and in a world with both, you're grabbing onto that positive.
You have to, and I see a lot of families that lose a loved one, and they either take that negative and turn it into a positive, or they get into grief, and they live in that grief, and they never get out of it. And then they start struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse, or they just end up dying. You shouldn't be burying your kids. No. You shouldn't be burying 12, 14. There was a 13-year-old boy that just died 3 days ago. 13 years old. I think we're in 6th, 7th, 8th grade at 13.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, start listening to Black Sabbath albums.
I mentioned I lost a couple of kids that I knew. One, you know, these were young kids, and, you know, but they were in their 20s, you know, and like you said, pretty much right there in that time frame, you know.
It happened so quickly. I have seen people that experimented with 1 bag of heroin. In 6 months, they're male or female, they're prostituting themselves to support their habit that quick.
Well, another friend of mine is an attorney, and he took on a case of a kid. It was I think a 25-year-old or 26-year-old kid, again, who had gotten busted with heroin. So he got arrested, and they basically went up in front of the judge, and the judge was like, you're pretty lucky, because the stuff that you got was tainted.
Yep.
And it's the stuff that's out there killing people. And the kid was like, oh. So as soon as he got out, he went back, bought another bag from the same guy.
Dead.
And he was dead.
I mean, it's...
And so I mean, and I guess my hard part is addiction for me has never been something that I've had.
Right.
So I try to be, sympathetic or understand. So, that drive or whatever, I mean, it just never ends?
So people ask me, I'm almost 5 years sober, and I'm the guy, whether it was alcohol, any drug, I couldn't stay sober 5 minutes, let alone 5 days. I have no thoughts of using. That obsession and compulsion has been lifted.
God bless.
But I go to, I attend a recovery program. I attend a 12-step base, but there's Christian base, there's Buddhist. Do whatever you need to do to get sober, but you got to change every aspect of your life. But what keeps me grounded is giving back. I got to give away what was so freely given to me. But for you, the person saying, how can this kid get arrested and then go right back and do it? This isn't alcohol. This isn't even cocaine. Heroin robs everything. The best thing when you're up there singing and you get that ultimate high and you've got that crowd yelling, multiply that by 10,000. That's what heroin is like. And I'll never glamorize it, but it instantly takes control of everything. I mean, I would be driving to Chicago crying, knowing I should be home with my wife and 4 kids, but the pull of that drug was too much. And it's not like I was trying to get high. I just want to feel normal. Because when you don't have opiates, you are profusely sick. You're defecating, you're vomiting yourself. And if I got to steal that phone to go buy 2 bags of heroin, I'm going to do it. I just want to feel normal. Make sense?
So in other words, once you get addicted to it, it's so much of your life.
It's everything.
That it basically makes you feel not normal not having
You're
it.
not. You live to use and use to live. That's it. A good friend of mine, Brandon Novak, you might know the name. He was in all the Jackass movies. Viva La Bam. He was a professional skateboarder at 14.
Okay, I know.
Yeah, and his whole life was a train wreck. When he finally got sober, he walked into his 13th detox with the duffel bag. He had 8 scarves. He had 3 socks, a stick of deodorant, and that duffel bag doubled as his pillow. He's a New York Times best-selling author. He's been to 29 countries. He's been in all these blockbuster movies, and that man was selling his ass on the corner for $40 for a couple bags of heroin. That's where the disease of addiction takes you. Yeah, and today he's 2.5 years clean and sober. He's one of my best friends, and we speak all over the country, but we help people. So
I recently quit smoking the nicotine, and I just know, and I take myself to that, how hard it was for me. But then there was that one day where I just said, I'm done.
Yep.
And that was it. I mean, I still, every once in a while, I get that smell.
Sure.
And I'm like, but then I have to just keep telling myself, no. And so, I mean, I'm imagining it on times that by 1,000 or.
One thing I did, for me going to prison, I did 13.5 months. I was probably the happiest person to walk in because I knew the game was up and it was going to give me time to work on myself. And I read hundreds of books. 2 of the books that really stand out were by Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within and Unleash the Ultimate Power. And 2 of the things Tony talked about, well, one of the main things, you've got to change your core belief or your clutch belief. And until you change it, you're not going to change. And the factor is pain. Until you've had enough pain, you're not going to change. People's pain thresholds are different. It could be, I got a DUI, I lost a friend, I'm going to lose a job, I'm done. Smoking's caused me, okay, I quit. But for other people, it's repetitive, and they're just dying.
So on a different note, since you mentioned Tony Robbins, have you ever met him now that you've read his books? Have you ever gotten a chance to?
So I got a phone call after my TV show aired from a gentleman who owns a website called rehab.com. He flew me out to Baltimore. He said, I saw your TV show. He said, I want to help. He gave me a substantial donation on the spot, and I was telling him that story. And he said, would you like to meet Tony Robbins? I said, yeah, I'd love to. Why? He said, well, I know him. I'll arrange that. So
awesome.
He's going to set up a lunch where, yeah, that would, to be able to spend a half hour with that man and just suck a little bit of wisdom.
Well, just the fact that he helped you, though.
Absolutely.
Whenever I know when I've had mentors in many things, and whenever I got to meet the actual person later on,
sure,
it was a little bit more, of a thing. And I says in the near future, I'm hoping that we're going to be interviewing Vince Neil, who I emulate on stage. I'm hoping it'll work out. And if you see this, Vince, I'm coming for you September 9th.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, so I said we're trying. That's why I just asked. I'm trying to bring some some uppity stuff here for our conversation.
Well, that's what it's all about too. I was always very successful in business and in life, but I was a kid that struggled with learning disabilities, ADD, dyslexia, had the 1.4 grade average. I was dumb as a box of rocks, but I surrounded myself with people I could learn from. And it's the same thing in recovery. If you, and in your industry, you hang out with the winners, good things are going to happen. You are a product of the 5 people you associate with the most. So if you're hanging out with people that are on BS, but you're hanging out with the winners, there's 2 ways to get ahead in life: who you know or how to cheat. I prefer who you know. It works a lot better.
Cheating never gets you anywhere, my friend.
Doesn't get you anywhere.
And we know that one, don't we, Dennis? Yes, we do. Being baseball coaches and commissioners, we know that one.
But it's good to meet your mentors, it's good, idols, whatever you call them, the people you look up to, and that it happens to me a lot with this celebrity status now. And when people meet me, I'm just Tim Ryan. You know, I'm a normal guy. I pee in a toilet. I drink coffee. I get out of bed. I get mad because the dog might have pooped on the floor. You know, it's simple things in life. We're all human.
Everyday normal life.
Absolutely.
And that's the beauty part of it, is that you were able to bring yourself back to somewhat of a normal life.
Yeah, I got a life beyond my wildest dreams.
And as far as, like I said, you know, when you met my fiance earlier, and she's like, because, you know, you see somebody on TV and everything.
Sure.
It's a
She's
little.
a sweetheart.
But it's intimidating sometimes.
It is.
But well, she'll probably get to see more of you, because I'm sure we're going to be working together.
We're going to be doing a lot more. And the thing, you know, I did a video on Facebook the other day, because in my industry, there's a lot of people that talk a good game, but when push comes, if I get a call at 2 in the morning, I'm out of the house.
Saw it.
I'll go pull you out of a trap house. I don't care. But when push comes to shove and you need help, there's really not a lot of people that will truly be there and that will take that call or just to listen to someone. And everybody needs compassion and someone that can care. And as I said in this, the way I am here, whether I was at the State of the Union address, this is just the way I am. Congressman Bill Foster is a dear friend of mine. He showed up at my book saying, hey, Bill, how you doing? Everyone, that's a Congressman. No, it's not. It's Bill. He's my friend. You know, I just treat people.
They're a human.
Exactly.
So now, speaking of, we're going on to politics a little bit here. So if we have the, hi guys. All right, we have people outside. As far as getting help from government officials and helping, what can we do? What can we promote? What can we try to bring out in these politicians that are out there to put them on the spot?
Well, you know, I sat down with Congressman Randy Hultgren last year, and Randy's a friend of mine too. It's weird. I got all these cops and politicians that are friends of mine. I was running from these people.
I had a youth like that. Trust me.
And
I say to myself now, it's like, wow. I'm popular back then. I wasn't.
Yeah,
you know,
it's crazy. But Congressman Hultgren, I was sitting with Randy, and I said, what do I need to do? He said, Tim, you got to change it in your town. You got to get it to the county. We can get it into the state. Then we can take it to the federal level. And our president now has declared the opiate epidemic a state of emergency. What will happen, I don't know. I try to stay out of politics. If he's willing to allocate some money, great, but where's it really going to be allocated to? So I stay out of all that. We just need to get the word out more. We need more boots on the ground. I get a lot of people that say, I want to volunteer and help, and when you call them, well, I'm busy, I can't do this. Well, don't tell me you want to help then, you know? So just since the show was launched, I've had more people reach out that truly want to help, and we're getting it put together and doing what we can do, you know?
There was another, are you familiar with Mike Young?
Yeah.
Okay, and I had just started contact with him when one of the kids that I knew just passed away. And because I was really just pissed off, I really wanted to find that dealer and just kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was my, you know, I was angry.
Sure.
And I was told, contact Mike Young because somebody else knew him or had somebody in a family that, you know, he had helped. And so he and I had started talking, and what I would like to do is get a bunch of bands and do like a little tour across like an area, okay? And bring awareness to people.
Absolutely.
If we bring the bands and you can have the families, recovering or non-recovering, whatever, these people come out, bring kids, make it kid-friendly. They can see stuff, talk to people.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was my goal, and then Mike ended up having a baby and then moved out west. And unfortunately, Mike, I'm praying for you, my friend, because he did just have an incident.
Oh, I know. Mike, I actually gave Mike his career. But, you know, I pray for him. But that's addiction, too. And I'll kind of, not on Mike, but on people that do what I had this girl call me 2 weeks ago. She says, I saw your show and I want to do what you do. I said, great. How much sobriety? Well, I'm 6 months sober. I had been 8 years, but I'm 6 months. I said, okay, you're 6 months sober. I said, what do you do to stay sober? Well, I go to meetings. I got a sponsor. I said, okay, there's 12 steps. What step are you on? She said, I'm on step 2. I said, ma'am, you're incapable of helping yourself. I said, you need to completely go through the steps, take some other people through it, get a year or 2 sober, then call me. I said, because what you will do is go help this person, help this person, help this person, not help yourself, and when push comes to shove, implode, just the way Mike did. Mike thought the job would keep him sober, and it doesn't. You know where I'll be tomorrow morning at 7:30? I'll be at a walking 12-step meeting. My recovery is number 1. My relationship with God is number 1. If I need to take some time off for self-care, I take it, because if Tim's not well, Tim can't perform. If you're out boozing all day and snorting blow and doing whatever and trying to come sing at 9:30, you're not going to be able to do it. No one's going to pay the bills. No one's going to come. You have to be in shape. Hey, you know what? I'm a singer. Might as well quit smoking. I want to be able to make it another 40 years.
I'd just be happy to go up the stairs.
I'm telling you. I know. I know.
Smoking, that was one of the things that hit me. You know, I was going up the stairs and I'm like, man, I'm winded. This is horrible.
I know, and I'm sitting here going, I can't wait to get out and have a cigarette.
No.
Well, you know, the bad thing was, too.
Pick your vice. There you
well,
go.
no. When I was in prison for 13 and a half months, you couldn't smoke. So I got out. I'm great. And my stupid parole agent, Ramsey, thank you, Ramsey. He's a good buddy of mine now. He didn't show up for 4 days, so you can't leave your house. And my buddy Matt shows up, and I said, man, do you have a cigarette? He said, hey, I just bought a carton. You want a few packs? I'm like, okay. Right back and picked it up, and I haven't stopped yet. I will be stopping soon.
One of my sons just graduated the Naval Academy.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, he needed it. He needed to get out of it. No,
Exactly.
no, really, he was heading in the wrong direction. And he'll be watching this, I'm sure. But he's down in Pensacola now in the Navy. And
awesome.
Dumbass started smoking. Again, he quits for 8 weeks of basic training, but you know, who am I to say? I did the same damn thing.
Exactly.
Hell, we were sneaking them in basic training.
Yep. Lead by example, and so we just got to keep doing what we do. But you know what? If you had asked me 4 years ago at this exact minute, I was in a prison cell at Sheridan Correctional Center. To look at what I'm doing now, I would have never fathomed this in a million years.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, brother.
I'm glad you're out and
Absolutely.
you're here and you're making
Absolutely.
a difference.
We're making a difference.
Oh, thank you.
We
yes.
are making a difference.
All of us.
That is what it's all about, 100%.
Excellent. Well, are you ready for some? I should let you go check out that band in there, and then when they're done, we're going to be coming up too. Then.
Good. I'm ready to hear some music.
All right, man.
Six likes kick it, man.
Well, I hope you like Motley Crue.
What do you think? I was telling your fiance. Full Circle Records used to be in downtown Crystal Lake where I grew up.
Okay.
And me and my buddy was a senior, I was a freshman, and we hopped on his motorcycle, and he's like, dude, you got to check out this album. I'm like, what's this? He's like, dude, it's Livewire. I'm like, what the hell's this? He's like, dude, this Motley Crue. And then we couldn't wait for Shout at the Devil to come out.
It's the same thing happened to me. I saw them open up. I want to say it was for Ozzy for the first time when the Livewire was
right.
And they came out, and I'm like, who is this band?
Exactly.
They were insane. Yep. And it wasn't really like metal, like Ozzy. It was more like a punk, and I was kind of really into it. And then when they came out with Shout, it was like
oh, man.
a really
Shout
good
at
album.
The Devil was it.
And then Theater
off.
of Pain just kind of dropped me. I was dropped. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, no, they decade.
But then they came back. They came back.
No, it's Crue's it, man. That's what it's all about.
Well, I'm glad I'm thanking you. I'm thanking Gail and my band is actually we're into this too. So
awesome.
I want to work with you in the future.
More to come. Absolutely more to come.
You got
Stay
my number now,
in.
so
it's
I got
on speed dial.
All right. Well, thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
We are on with the show, and we are with Tim Ryan one more time. Please support the cause. Tim, what is a website people can go to?
www.amirf.org. amurf.org, Amana Recovery Foundation.
All right, and you can also catch his special that's probably re-airing on
A&E called Dope Man. Google it, Dope Man, and you'll be able to watch it. You can get it on Netflix, not Netflix,
YouTube,
all that good stuff. all
and I are
that
the
techie
same.
stuff.
The techie guys are over there.
Exactly. Just plug it in, you'll find it.
What do you call me, Dennis?
You can stream it. You can stream it. That's it.
No, you call me the what's the word for me? The talent.
The
He calls me the talent.
yes.
I'm as dumb.
Yep.
I'm a box of rocks on that side
Exactly.
of the camera.
Me
so,
too.
all
I
right.
couldn't turn one on.
I just know how to turn my mic on, and if I don't forget to change the batteries, I'm in good shape.
Awesome.
So, all right. Once again, thank you, everybody. Tim Ryan, thank you. God bless.
Amen. That
All
was
right.
awesome. Thank you.
Man. Thank you for your time.